The recorder had already changed everything. Then the second door opened, and whatever was waiting behind it already knew their names. The recorder clicked off. Silence filled the room. Neither Ethan nor Mira moved. Then, somewhere behind the concrete wall, a metal door opened slowly in the darkness. The sound was low, heavy, deliberate. Mira turned first. Ethan followed a second later. Neither of them spoke. "That wasn't there before," Mira whispered. Ethan kept staring toward the dark end of the room. "No," he said, "but I think it was always here." The hanging light above them flickered once, then again. The papers on the wall shifted slightly in the cold air. Mira looked back at the recorder on the desk, then at Ethan. "This place knew we were coming." A narrow seam appeared in the concrete beside the wall of papers. At first, it looked like a crack. Then it widened. Dust fell from the edge. A hidden passage slowly opened in the wall. A breath of cold, buried air moved through the room. Not fresh air, not outside air. Air that had been trapped for years. Mira took one step back. Ethan moved toward it. The passage was narrow and dark. Pipes ran along the ceiling. Water dripped somewhere in the distance. A weak industrial light buzzed overhead, then dimmed again. The floor was stained and uneven. The walls looked wet but old, as if this corridor had been hidden, not abandoned. Ethan stood at the entrance and listened. "It wants us to keep going," he said. Mira did not move. "My brother used to do this," she said quietly. Ethan glanced at her. She kept staring into the corridor. "He used to stop in the middle of a sentence and listen to things nobody else could hear. He said some places feel like they remember people." Ethan looked back into the dark. "And this one?" Mira swallowed. "This one feels like it remembers us." They stepped into the passage. Each footstep echoed longer than it should have. The sound did not bounce back like a normal hallway. It dragged, as if the corridor kept it. Ethan ran his hand lightly along the concrete wall. Then he stopped. There were marks cut into it. Not random scratches. Words. He leaned closer. Names. Dates. Times. Short phrases carved into the damp concrete. Some names were crossed out. Some were circled. Some had lines drawn beneath them again and again. Mira lifted her phone screen to see better, and then Ethan found his own name. Ethan Cole. Written once, then again, then again. Mira moved beside him. A few inches below Ethan's name was hers. Mira Hale. She stared at it in silence. Below both names, carved deeper than the rest, were 4 words. Not the first time. Neither of them breathed for a second. Mira touched the wall with trembling fingers. "This isn't a warning," she said. Ethan kept staring at the words. "No," he answered. "It's a record." Farther down the corridor, another line had been scratched into the wall. Smaller, messier, almost hidden under old stains. Mira raised the light again. This time, the name above it was her brother's. Daniel Hale. Below it, in shaking, uneven letters, someone had carved, "He tried to stop it." Mira lowered the phone. For the first time since entering Mercer Street, she looked close to breaking. Ethan said nothing. There was nothing he could say. At the end of the corridor stood the second metal door. It was already half open. A pale line of light spilled across the floor. Ethan pushed it slowly. The hinges groaned, but not loudly. Inside was a larger room, an archive, or something built to look like one. Metal shelves, dust-covered boxes, old monitors, tapes, photographs. Cables running across the floor like veins. Mira walked in first this time. Her eyes moved quickly from shelf to shelf. Each box was labeled by hand. Dates, initials, locations. Some labels were missing. Some had been torn off. On one shelf, Ethan found a row of cassette tapes marked with the same number, 213. Another shelf held photographs bundled together with rubber bands. He pulled one free, then another. Every picture showed him. Different clothes, different places, different nights, same face. Mira. His voice sounded wrong in the room, too small. She turned. He handed her the photographs. In one, he was standing outside an apartment building in the rain. In another, he was sitting alone in a parked car, staring at his phone. In another, he was looking straight at the camera with an expression he did not recognize. Mira looked up at him slowly. "These were taken before tonight." Ethan nodded once. "I know." Then he noticed something worse. In 3 of the photos, Mira was there too, always in the background, always watching. On the back wall, an old screen was already glowing. Neither of them had touched it. Static rolled across it. Then the image steadied, black and white, grainy, unstable. At first it was hard to understand what they were looking at. Then the angle became clear. It was the same corridor, the same second door, the same archive room, seen through an old security camera. 2 figures entered the frame, Ethan and Mira. Not now, before. Their clothes were different, their movements were different. But it was them. Mira stood closer to the screen. "No," she whispered. The recording showed them standing exactly where they were now. Then screen Ethan turned slightly toward the camera, not by accident, like he knew it was there, like he had done this before. The older recording version of Ethan looked directly into the lens. His face was tired, more tired than now. He took 1 step closer. Then he said, slowly and clearly, "If you're watching this again, don't let me remember." The screen crackled. Mira turned toward Ethan at once. He looked as shocked as she did. "I've never seen this," he said. But even to him, his voice sounded less certain. Their screen went black. For 1 second, the room was completely silent. Then every old monitor in the archive turned on at once. Blue-white light filled the darkness. One screen showed a hallway, another showed a stairwell, another showed Ethan alone in a room with blood on his shirt, Another showed Mira pounding on a locked door. Another showed the apartment from episode 1. Another showed Mercer Street empty in the rain. Dozens of screens, dozens of versions, dozens of moments. Then a vibration cut through the room, sharp, close. Both of them froze. Mira looked down at her pocket. Ethan looked at his hand. Both phones were glowing. 2 screens, 2 messages, at the same time. Ethan looked up first. Mira was already reading hers, and whatever she saw made her step back from him.